Can I tell you a little secret? Back in high school, I was never the class clown or the most popular guy getting invited to all of the parties. And this was mainly because I had made a decision to bury myself into books. I joined the debate club, I joined the mock trial team, and I even managed to graduate at the top of my class as the valedictorian. But as I stood there on the final day of my graduation, I looked out into my classmates and I realized how many of them I actually didn't even know. So coming to Hult, I knew that I didn't want to make that same mistake. I learned a very important and valuable lesson in my first weeks at Hult in London, and that was, it is impossible to learn, to grow, and to transform if you're doing it alone. So after I was hearing this term, and I would always hear networking, you have to go and network. Because even online, I would read things that we're living in an ultra-competitive job market, and we need to know people who know people who know people for us to get those referrals, so we can get those internships, so we can get those jobs. So I took this term so literal. I went to every single networking event that I could find. The first week I was in London to the last week that I was there in my first year. I went to probably more than 50 networking events. Sometimes I would go for some that I wasn't even interested in, whether it was entrepreneurship, innovation, the creative industries. But little did I know how much I was wrong. You see, the approach that I was taking towards networking, I would go to these events and I would collect business cards like they were Pokemon cards. And the thing is I would come back home and I'd think, okay, now I need to send a LinkedIn message to everyone that I meet saying thank you. But then I would feel tired. I would feel exhausted. And I was lost. So I went and I applied in my first year to a lot of different internships that summer, and I was rejected by every single one of them. I was demotivated because I thought that I was doing everything right. I was going to the networking events, I was meeting with people, getting to know them, but I knew that I needed to change my approach. So I decided to take part in improv classes to lift me up. And you see, improv, what happens in improv is purely magical. Because when you're standing on that stage, you have to match that energy level of the other person. And during improv, you don't have a label that's defined to you, whether you were the nerd or the class clown or the most popular guy or girl. So in improv, you can be absolutely anyone you want to be, but you need to listen. At all these networking events, think about the amount of times that you actually met with professionals or other colleagues that you want to impress. And instead of listening to what they're actually saying, you're thinking about your response and how to craft your perfect response. But in improv, you don't do that. You don't have the opportunity to do that because it's all on the moment, and you have to listen to what they have to say. So I decided that after I would go to these improv classes, what if I could actually apply the same techniques to when I would go to networking events? And what happened was truly transformational. I not only came back from these events feeling more fulfilled, feeling more excited, but I was open, and instead of just telling them and presenting a perfect CV, I would talk about my weaknesses and the times that I failed. And this is the point that I'm trying to make, is that everyone, regardless of your degree or your background or where you come from, you have the ability to make that decision and try to know that you don't have to prove anything to anyone else. It took me to getting rejected from all of my internships that I applied for my first year to realize this. But what I want to let all of you know is that pure transformation can actually come through meaningfully connecting with others. When you get this transformation, you can really realize that you can achieve anything you put your mind to. My mentor at Google, he had me take this assessment center in the first weeks that I was with him. And at the end, I was classified as an ENFP, and I was classified as a yellow little triangle. And I said, what does this mean? Does this mean I'm going to be good at sales? Does this mean I'm going to be good at marketing? But then I thought to myself, wait a minute. This is purely another label that's being put on me. So we are not defined by our personality type or which Harry Potter house we resonate with. We're much more than that. So next time you go to a networking event and next time you actually go and try to meet people, you'll be amazed by the opportunities that will come your way once you actually start being yourself. Thank you very much.